Disclaimer: all views expressed on What Makes Us Fire are solely those of the person or persons giving them. What Makes Us Fire does not represent or claim to represent any particular city or fire department, and therefore make the claim that all views and standpoints are affiliated with What Makes Us Fire and with What Makes Us Fire only. Any mention of certain fire departments or cities within the interviews are solely for informational and opinion based dialogue. In short, if you have a problem with what's published, just say something about it and don't be a Richard. Hello, What Makes Us Fire Family. How are you guys doing out there? Today, on this episode, I have a very special guest. He is a firefighter, a young firefighter at that, new in the game, still really young, about 2-3 years in. But the really cool thing about him is he's from South Australia. This podcast, this platform, this family has grown around the world. And he reached out. He reached out because he wanted to share a little bit of his story and where he came from and how things work down under. His name is Benji. Benji is a volunteer firefighter in South Australia. And in this episode, we kind of shoot the shit, really. There's no real format here. It's just two firefighters meeting each other, talking to each other for the first time, and learning from each other. Benji has an amazing head on his shoulders. He's a young man, growing, and his story and how things work down there is so interesting for us in that most of the audience obviously is here in North America, in the United States and Canada, but his story is going to reach all over the world. And I can't wait for you guys to just hear him. And ladies, he's taken. So don't let the accent, fool you. He is taken. He does have a sexy accent. I'll give him that. So, what makes us Fire Family? Without further ado, please help me welcome the firefighter from down under, Mr. Benji.
Boom, we're recording right now.
Oh,
because
there we go.
We've been talking about some interesting too much whiskey already.
Differences?
Yeah, interesting viewpoints on certain things that have happened, like the New York thing you just brought up, and you being in South Australia. Speaking of which, what makes us Fire Family? I introduce Mr. Benji here. He is he's a firefighter in South Australia. We're not going to get specific, so don't ask for the city. He's just in South Australia, somewhere along the coast. And how did you find me again?
When you put your link to your interview with Jason up, I think it was Fire Department memes or something, one of those pages.
Oh, Jason from Fire Department Chronicles. Yeah, the funny bald guy.
Yeah, I think you posted the most famous firefighter.
So you guys, he's reached all the way to Australia, huh?
Yeah, Facebook's a wonderful thing.
Actually, you found me on Instagram.
Yeah, I think I followed you on all your social medias now. I didn't actually start listening to you until you got onto Spotify, because when I tried listening to you on the other place, it just wouldn't work. It kept cutting out. It was just driving me crazy, so I stopped.
Yeah. Well, I'm also on Apple now, but hey, you're badass for listening, man. Thank you. I'm getting better with this whole setup audio stuff, and I can promise you this will sound a hell of a lot better than that first episode. I promise.
I can only go up from here.
It better. You're on the show. You got some high expectations.
You'll have to excuse me. The internet connection down here is not great, so sometimes you just cut out. I don't get what you're saying.
Okay, well, if you need me to repeat.
If I just look blankly, it's not because I'm stupid. It's just because didn't hear what you said.
That's fine. If you need me to repeat the question, just ask me. Because remember, I can do a whole bunch of editing. And then when you actually hear it, it's not going to sound like we stopped or anything.
Yeah.
It'll sound like you asked the question once. So don't worry about it. If you can't hear, if you need me to repeat, go ahead and just say, hey, can you say that again? No big deal.
Yeah.
So, Benji, you found me on Facebook. What was it that kind of made you want to follow? Because all I was doing is just posting some pictures of my fire life and probably getting really annoying with all the go listen to What Makes Us Fire, check this picture out, check this one out. What made you want to click?
It was the first time I've actually seen a podcast about firefighters. I just thought it was a really cool insight to see how someone in America does it compared to how we do it here. It's probably just the differences in what you can learn, and yeah.
Were you disappointed to find out we weren't really talking about training?
Not really, because you still talk about sometimes what you do, how things happen, how your department deals with like mental health, and because that's completely different to how it's done here. It's good to get another insight on how things work.
It is, and I know we actually got more contact when I put, for lack of a better term, like casting call type.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, if anybody's interested and wants to come on the show, share their story, contact me. We'll talk a little bit, and then I'll let you know, hey, your story's great, but you're not good enough to be on the show. Or, hey, I like your story so far. Let's continue this and record it. So I don't think I've told anybody that I wouldn't let them do it, because that would totally be going against the point of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah,
right?
Well, I mean,
So,
free labor.
Right, exactly. Them, so. I'm going to have to start making people sign if this ever gets really big. I doubt it, but, I might have to start thinking about it.
Aim for the sky.
Right.
Just get them to sign an NDA and a contract.
After this episode airs, Benji, I guarantee you it's going to skyrocket. Or it better.
You're at least going to have one more follower. So, progress.
That is. Hey, one step forward. That's all that matters.
Exactly.
So, Benji, we're going to get to know you a little bit. So I might ask you a couple questions. Again, if you don't want to answer them, you don't have to. But you can answer them with me and share with me. And if you don't want the world hearing it, just let me know. I can edit it out.
Fuck it.
So, yeah, exactly. Fuck it. Right? So, I asked you, you're 22 years old.
Yeah.
And you started the fire career 3 years ago on the volunteer side?
Yeah, I'm still volunteering.
Still volunteering?
So.
And now I'm going to go back even further. Before you even thought of becoming a firefighter, where were you at in life before that? I don't know how the school systems work down there. I don't know any of that. So just take me basically from high school on, or what you considered 9 through 12th grade.
Okay, so I finished high school in 2016, so 12th grade. I finished that up. I just moved to the area I'm in, and I was I just got a new job. I was finishing school trying to find stuff to do, and drove past the station one night. They had their doors up and poked my head in and put in a application form, and then forgot about it. And 3-4 months later, I got an invite to come to an information night, and then applied and had like a small interview with the captain and a couple of the seniors, and then just kind of went from there. It wasn't pre-planned, really. It was more like, oh, that looks kind of cool.
Really?
Yeah.
So in high school, what what do you think your plans were? What did you want to do once you got out of high school? Did you want to go to college? Do you have any plans?
I wanted to go into the army, but I got turned down with my psychological evaluation for not being mature enough. I was like, oh, fuck.
Well,
So
how
that
old
went
were
out the
you when
window.
you did that?
So 17. So,
Well,
fair enough.
I mean, fair. That is fair enough. I mean, to be honest with you, I wouldn't blame them for not taking on a 17-year-old.
Well,
That's
yeah.
just me.
Um,
So you want to do the military?
yeah.
What after that?
Didn't really have a plan after that. So I kind of just went to a job where I could just work, earn some money, and just kind of started floating along.
Really? So
Yeah.
So you were driving home. You saw the station doors open. What drew you to make that turn to go check it out?
I knew what what the whole organization was about and kind of what they did, and just thought, I'm kind of bored. Looks cool. Could probably help me in the future. I want to see if I want to do it. And then, yeah, just intrigue.
Really? So just driving by a fire station, which I'm sure you've done before in your lifetime.
Yeah.
But it was just this one time, all of a sudden, you know what? I'm going to stop and check it out.
I think it's because at that time I had a lot of free time and I was a bit lost on what I wanted to do with my life. So I think if I can volunteer here, the worst thing that can happen is I get qualifications. So I just jumped into the deep end, joined up, and just to give myself a little bit of purpose.
So what if you saw Nanny Wanted? Would you have gone and tried and walk into a house that said Nanny Wanted, or were you just looking for something that you thought?
No, because that's not cool, and the public doesn't perceive nannies as cool.
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
There you go.
Cool, fun, and challenging.
Yeah.
Cool, fun, and challenging. Those
cool,
are the three
fun,
things.
And challenging. So you saw that, and you're like, you know what? Firefighters cool. Chicks dig firefighters. All right.
Exactly. Like, got nothing to lose.
Nothing to do. It's fun. You get to drive big red trucks, spray a lot of water, hang from houses, break shit. So there's the cool part.
Oh, it's just, we don't do a lot of that stuff. That's probably one of the, we might get into that later, but there's some differences on how we operate compared to American crews.
Really?
So
well,
there's quite a few differences.
Damn it. Well, I'm here. I am just talking away, thinking we're that much in common. Well, chicks dig firefighters. That's at least common.
Oh yeah. Like you put your gear on, your bunker gear, and everyone listens to you, and they will stare at you like, I feel important.
unless it's another firefighter, then they're like, fuck off, Benji.
As soon as someone else says something, I'm all ears to them because I've got no idea what I'm actually doing.
Well, we're trained to have semi of an idea of what to do.
Yeah, I'm not officer in charge, so it's not my head on the line.
No, but you're in charge of yourself, and then your brother or sister's backup. So it might not be your ass if you fuck up entirely. However, you still have some responsibilities.
Oh yeah, but once shit hits the fan, all jokes aside, you do what you have to get the job done.
Absolutely. Sorry. Whiskey's good.
That's all right.
So we're actually 14 and a half hours apart.
Yeah.
You live on a completely opposite side of the world. We dived into it barely. We just
different hemisphere.
Yeah, no shit. Your toilet's flush backwards. At least backwards from us.
I don't get that whole thing. I don't look at the way the toilet flushes, so it's just like, what?
Yeah, like who found that out? I don't know, but there's just another difference there. I guess it's what I heard. I've never witnessed it. I'm just saying. Yeah. But yeah, I have no idea who took the time to actually point that out.
Must have been pretty bored.
Yeah. I mean, you would have to be, I guess. Anyway, damn it, Benji. I was trying to make a point. Let's say we barely dipped our toes into how the fire service is different, being so far away from each other. From what you know, you've only been in the service for 3 years now, and it's only been volunteer, which is different from career, even over there.
Oh, yeah.
When we talked about a week ago or so, you kind of let me know, no, it is different. So it is different with us too. So from what you think you know, or what you actually know about American firefighting, is the biggest difference from South Australian firefighting?
Probably the biggest one is because do your cities each have a separate department, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in South Australia, we've only got two. We've got got one that covers like built-up city areas, and then we've got another department that covers all the bushland and small towns. So it's not each city has their own. It's two big organizations. So
really?
Yeah. So in each state, there's only two departments per se. So you don't have like Houston or something. You've got the South Australian or the Victorian. You don't have separate cities. You've got state.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest difference.
The only thing that I can compare that to that the states have is we have what we call counties, which is basically a state is broken up into smaller sections.
Yeah.
And there might be a county fire department that covers multiple counties.
Yeah.
So, but that, I think that's insane that you have, out of the whole South Australian state,
we've got two.
You got two departments. Are those government run?
Yes. Yeah. So the easiest way to explain it, so imagine in Texas, if you had the Texas Fire Department and then the Texas Volunteer Department, that's how we run it here. So there's only two.
Wow. Those departments must be massive.
I think the one I'm in has 14,000 volunteers. It just, this way with having it with just one kind of volunteer and one VS, it's a lot more flat. Everyone knows the same amount of thing and everyone is on the same page about most of their training. So it's very easy to go from one station to the other end of the state and have the same sort of gear, trucks and training, which makes it a lot easier when you're going away on strike teams and so forth.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can tell you there's a huge difference when you have a firefighter, say in Southeast Texas where I'm at, and then you would take someone like me all the way up to New York, and then you look at the shit and tools they have on New York. Well, it's a huge difference, and that's just within the states and how they train. But they have to train for certain for their perspective areas that they manage.
Exactly.
Wouldn't make a whole lot of sense having all these New York firefighters be wildland fire trained when the largest piece of land they have is Central Park, you know. So it is very vastly different from state to state, and sometimes even from city to city within a state, because that city one city might be closer to the coastline, the other city's a little bit more in a hill country, and the variables that they have to deal with are just so different, and it wouldn't make sense to run all the departments in the same state the exact same. It just wouldn't make sense.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be a waste of resources. But I do like the idea that the whole state would have the same type of gear, the same type of training. That makes sense. That would be cool. But there's just, I mean, the USA is massive.
Different countries, different circumstances.
Yeah.
You can only do so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I think both have their limitations and both have their pros as well. You know, would I want one or the other? Definitely. I wouldn't know. I would have to actually go to South Australia and see how it was. But I like the way we run things because we're on our own little bubble and we take care of the citizens in our area. You know, and a lot of the training does carry over, you know, from city to city. Most firefighters know the same basic level of training. So I don't see it being too much of an issue, just small specifics. You know, like in New York, I would need to know a little bit more about standpipe systems or stuff like that. In cold weather climates, I would need to know about how they deal with ice and cold weather. So it just depends. But I think it's really cool that it's only 2, but I also think, man, that sucks. Like how?
Well,
go ahead.
Well, you go ahead. You're asking the questions.
Yeah, but I'm not letting you answer. I just keep talking.
Well, like I say, we've got 2. So we've got 2 emergency responding fire departments, but like we're broken up into different regions and different stations and all that. On top of that, we've got, I think it's 1 or 2 more, like government organizations that go in and do your back burning and parks, which don't respond to emergencies, but they've got firefighting capabilities. So it's not as daunting as it sounds.
Probably not. Again, you're talking to somebody who's completely ignorant to how the fire service works in Australia. So if I say something that sounds fucked off, please just tell me. I mean, I have no problem being wrong. I have no idea how South Australia firefighting works. That's why I wanted to do a podcast.
You're not wrong. You're just saying what you know from your experience. So that's probably the biggest thing. Everyone's different.
That's true. That's true. Thank you for that. It made me feel a little bit better. Just a little. So you drove by, you wanted to see it. We're going to go back to you in the fire. You drive by, you see it. They give you a call months later. You get involved. Once you start actually getting involved, what was your thought about how the fire service for you worked out there? Like, what did it mean to you once you started noticing, wow, okay, I can do this?
When I first started, it was very daunting to me because I never had any sort of, besides being a little kid and sitting in a fire truck, I'd never been around fire appliances or firefighters of any sort. So it was very daunting. Mm-hmm. But once you kind of get the hang of it, it becomes a lot more enjoyable and you keep pushing yourself and working your qualifications up and being better at what you can do and helping more people. So it was mainly just a reason for me to become a better person and develop my skills. And I also just love it. It's hard to explain. I just have a love for it. Can't replace it with anything. Yeah. You know what that would be like.
I know exactly what that would be like. It is hard to explain when you start something that you would never thought would literally completely take over your happiness in some weird way. It's like, hey, get up, go do a job, get your ass beat, come home dog tired, bruised, and can't wait to do it again. Like, how do you explain that to people? It's hard.
I don't know.
It's hard. And I don't know if you listened to me and my wife and I, our episode when we talked. I mean, it was hard to kind of explaining that, I was meant to do this job. It's a job, but it's also a calling.
And you can't explain that to anyone that hasn't been in that position. Like, it's just, when you're there, you're supposed to be there, and there's nothing that, and all your focus and energy is doing that job and doing it well.
Absolutely. So what has kept you wanting to continue to do this?
After a while, I kind of decided that I did want to go career. Mm-hmm. So, to get into career here, it's a very rigorous process. So I figured if I just stay and volunteer, do as much as I can, get all my skills up, make as many friends as I can, do as much, stand out, then when I go career, it's going to look a lot better. Mm-hmm. And it's just the sense of family and the friends you make and the things you do are once in a lifetime memories. And
how does the brotherhood work out there? How does that translate, like inside the job? How does the brotherhood work? And then when the call's over, how does that work with you guys?
So I'm sure it'd be different for career because they spend all the time together. But with volunteer, we only spend an hour, 2 hours every couple of days together. So it's like, the way I'll put it is I've got people at my station, which I do not like. I don't like who they are, but that all kind of goes out the window when you're on a job because I can trust that they'll have my back and I'll have theirs. And that's probably the best way to put it is even if you don't like someone at our station, it doesn't matter because they'll still have your back and still, put everything they have into helping.
Have you made some good friends that you do hang out with?
Yeah, one of my best friends is a retired man, which is very weird for a 22-year-old for one of his best friends to be in their late 60s. But I see him every now and again. He's really nice, and every time we're on a call together, we just hang out and have a good chat. It's refreshing.
It's weird how people just connect, right? We put stigmas on the differences, like, oh, he's 22, he's 60, there must be something weird going on. No, motherfucker. We have good conversation. He teaches me. He doesn't judge me like your fucking ass is doing right now. We have good conversation. If you said something smart that came out of your mouth, maybe you and I would hang out, but you don't.
Yeah.
So, I don't understand people like that. Don't listen to me.
Yeah.
So
not worth the time.
Yeah. So you got in contact with this old hat, and he kind of took you under his wing. It sounds like.
Not really, because we're on the same recruit squad. So
what's we kind of just squad?
It's just so every year every station's different due to what their needs are. But with our station, you would go through like a small interview process, and then you'd get a letter saying you've been accepted or rejected. And I think you spend 3 months with like the captain and lieutenants training you up. So when you do get on the truck, you know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So you do like basic firefighting courses and how to use the equipment, the radios. So I spent 3 months with a group of 4 other guys just learning all of that.
And he was part of those guys?
That's kind of how the recruitment process. Yeah, I was the youngest one there by about 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this, being in your late 20s to early 30s is getting into firefighting a little late.
The thing is that the people that volunteer with us all have day jobs. Like they all have other jobs, and this is just something they do to help out, something they like to do outside of work. So you can't be too picky because being all volunteer run, there's no really incentive for someone to come down. It's just because they want to help out.
What is keeping you staying with the volunteer other than wanting to go to the career? Because you started not really knowing that you're going to try to go career. You just started because you wanted to do something cool and challenging. But then you decided at some point, okay, I want to do this for the rest of my life. or for the rest of my working life. When did you find that point? What was it that had you go, you know what? This is what I want to do with the rest of my life.
Probably when I did my SCBA course is when you get like your breathing apparatus and you go into structures, and it's like that was really tough. And it was just like even though it's tough, I enjoyed it, and it put you in the moment, and you felt that rush of being in like a smoke-filled house. It's like I could see myself doing this for the next 60 years.
60
years.
Holy shit.
Oh, you know, keep them going.
60 years. Holy crap, dude. You want to be 70 years old crawling around?
Oh, I'm not crawling around. I think by the time I get to about 30, I think I'll be done crawling. Till I'm able to crawl.
Yeah, now, you know what? I get what you're trying to say. Take my advice, though. Put in a good, solid 25, 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
Get out of being on the line and then go teach and help the next generation, because anything after that, you're getting older, you're getting more brittle.
Well, it was like as soon as I get that acceptance letter from the career saying I'm in, everything else is out the window. My life is complete at that point.
Awesome.
Just kind of go along, do what I'm told, put the effort in.
That's all it takes. Hey, I
one
know
step at a time.
Hey, but I tell you what, you having that mindset of doing what it takes, when you said that right there, I already know you're going to do well.
Oh, thank you.
Well, it's a mindset. It really is. Because we in the States, we have rookies, right? If the rookie has the mindset of, I already have done what it takes, I already know, don't listen, I don't need to listen to you, I'm too smart for you, whatever. But they do the job very well, right? They're still shitheads, and they still turn out to be shit firefighters.
Yeah.
But people like you that have the mindset, I'm going to keep quiet and I'm going to do what I need to do because my life is complete that I got hired on. You're the kind of person that can be taught well because you're going to listen well.
Yeah. It's like, even being there for 4 years, every time I got to a job, I'm learning something I didn't know before. And it's just consistently expanding my mind. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I promise you, firefighters have this same quality no matter where you are in the world. If you're a shit rookie, we're not going to help you.
Yeah.
If you're open and honest, admit when you fuck up, keep your mouth shut when they're trying to learn you something. That's the saying down here in the South. I know it sounds like we're stupid, but that's what they say. We're going to try to learn you something. Basically, you keep your mouth shut when they're trying to teach you something. You listen, you do, take the feedback, and you will succeed. I promise. I promise you will succeed. You will not only succeed in becoming a very well-rounded firefighter, you will succeed in becoming those senior firefighters that are teaching you. You will succeed in earning their trust and becoming their true brother. I promise you.
Yeah.
Is that something that you look forward to getting into the career, the whole brotherhood aspect?
Oh, very much. Everything about career is very appealing. The shiny new trucks, the equipment, the pay. Because, I love what I do, but the fact that it can't support the bills is a bit daunting.
No, I get it. I get it. Sometimes paid departments, even if you are getting paid, it's hard to afford the bills. So here in the States, the cities and the voters get to choose how much firefighters get paid.
That's That's a bit rough.
Yeah, that's why you'll see firefighters out here going door to door saying, hey, vote for this proposition because it'll give us more money to get more training to protect you better. And it's true, but we firefighters have to be a lot more political over here than I have
We're different in
seen
this,
somewhere else.
Yeah, we're different in the sense that we're not allowed to be political. We're not allowed to push one member of parliament before someone else or anything like that. We have to be completely neutral because we are a government organisation. So, yeah, we're not allowed to be political in any way, shape, or form.
Wow. So you guys are completely like, okay, so I'm ignorant. Australia itself.
Yes.
How is it separated? How is it divided?
We've got states. It's pretty much it. Very much like the US, we've just got states and territories. Okay.
So the fire department you're in, is it government owned by state, by territory, or by country? Are you federally?
No, we're all, each state / territory have their own funded fire response source, emergency services. So we're funded by the government of South Australia.
Okay, so the state you live in is South Australia.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. That's weird. I mean, it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense to me because it's like you literally only have 2 fire departments in the whole state.
We've also got a lot less people, so.
Well, in your little area, what's your population that you guys are taking care of?
Oh, I don't actually. I don't really know. Because they're consistently building new estates, so it's hard to keep track of how many homes or bits and pieces. And all the borders are kind of smudged. So we go into the Korea firefighters area, and we go into some neighboring brigades areas if they need help. I'd say we've probably got a good about couple thousand people in our area.
Okay. So the city I work in, just the city, it's not even a major city, has almost 100,000 people that 7 stations are, helping out with.
It's hard because, like, my department, per se, covers 90% of the state. So it's like, it can't even, I think there's only a couple million in the entire state. It's not that many people.
A couple million in the entire state. Your department covers half of that with the career department. And that's not that many people?
More than half.
Would you say there's more volunteer than career?
A lot more volunteer. I think career only have 1,000 or so firefighters, and then volunteer has 14,000.
Holy shit. Well, here in the States, it's actually not, I don't know the exact numbers. I do know that the majority of firefighters in the United States are volunteer. About 70% of firefighters in the United States are volunteer firefighters, and only 30% are actually career paid firefighters. So if the volunteers wanted to rise up and revolt against the career, we would lose. I mean, they have us 2.5 to 1, so,
Yeah, but then they've got to drive 3-4 hours to come get you anyway, so you've got plenty of time to prepare.
That was good. I love that a volunteer just dogged on volunteer. That's awesome.
It takes one to know one.
That's too stupid. I'm gonna keep that joke in the podcast. That's funny. Well, they got to drive from their house, so you got time to prepare.
Well, it's like it's not even that far because where I am in my station, we've got about 5 minutes to get the pager message, get to the station, have a truck rolling out the door within 5 minutes.
That's That's on average, I would say, for most volunteer departments, unless they're in like really rural areas where there's a lot of space, then of course it has to be extended. But I would say in your suburban to city areas, if you have a volunteer department there, about 5 minutes to the station. Once you get to the station, you have 2 minutes to head out, so.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. At least we're the same on that front.
Right. After that, I've seen your trucks. You guys look like you found a dump truck and said, you know what? I can turn that into a fire truck.
That little one I sent you, the little white one, that was called the Pumper. That's from our station. That's our truck. Yeah, it's tiny. We can barely get 6 people in there at a time. It's tiny, but it does the job it needs to, so you can't really complain about it.
Right.
That's the truck. That's the truck we use for like our structure fires, our car accidents and stuff. And then the bigger off-road one is where we go for driving, basically in the bush, which is a bit bigger and a bit nicer for the most part.
Well, I would assume so. Were you? I know I'm asking a whole bunch of different questions, and I'll go back to the whole differences and everything. Were you affected by the fires that were going on in Australia?
I wasn't affected, but I went to them. So I was deployed to New South Wales for a week. And then we had some big ones in South Australia, so I was on there for a week.
Wow, so you actually did have to go, and you were...
I wasn't really affected, but I went out. We didn't have to. It was, if anyone's able to, if you're free to, put your hand up and we'll send you down. So I was like, I'm not doing anything. I'll head down, help out.
That's awesome. And the state doesn't offer you any compensation for going out and doing that?
No.
Wow.
I mean,
like
there's private companies, and like I got a phone. I didn't have to pay the phone bill for 3 months, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, so like private companies will be like, here, thank you.
Pretty much. I got a shirt and a hat, so I'm set. From the New South Wales fire departments, they gave me a shirt and a hat, and I was happy.
Hey, you know what? Were you working alongside career firefighters?
Not in New South Wales, but we were in South Australia. We had a couple of career firefighters deployed with their trucks, roaming around on a little island. So,
I'm sorry, I just wanted to know because the fires in Australia were a big deal around the world. So I'm talking to somebody from Australia, a firefighter, go figure. Might as well ask him if he went to go fight the fire.
It's like we didn't really see the impact those fires had on the rest of the world because we were a bit busy.
Right.
Shit out. It's like you guys have the California fires on now, so we're only hearing little bits and pieces about that.
California burns all the time.
I think they had the same issue last year.
Yeah, no, you guys did for sure. California literally is burning all the time. I don't want anybody to get hurt or lose anything, but if California can burn away without hurting anybody or anybody losing anything valuable, I would totally be okay with that. I don't want anybody to get hurt. I'm going to say that like 3 times. I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want anybody to lose.
Disclaimer.
Anything. Yeah, exactly. But California can burn to the ground. That's just my opinion.
They probably afford it.
They probably could afford it because they take everybody's money. Again, just my opinion.
Yeah.
Have you visited the States at all?
No, but I want to. I was planning on coming in the next couple of years, but obviously with the corona going on, I don't think that's really going to happen.
Don't get me started on that.
Hopefully by the time I come, I'll be Korea, so.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Paid leave.
Hell yeah. Come to the States, man. I'll show you around Southeast Texas. I'll tell you what, though. You come during hunting season, I'm going to take you hunting because that's pretty much all I do during hunting season. And if you come during the summer, I don't know how hot it gets in Australia, but in the States and Southeast Texas, holy crap. You want to talk about
All
swamp
right,
ass?
let me do a little bit of Googling on how hot it would get. For the fun.
Oh, gosh. I'm just going to say there's a difference in heat, right? We have a moisture heat.
Oh,
Yeah.
so during summer it gets to about 110 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, here where I'm at.
So, yeah, so that's about 45 degrees Celsius,
Okay.
which is kind of average summer temperature.
Even for you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So then you might get used to it. However, the heat over here where I'm at feels like you're swimming as soon as you open the door.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, it sucks. It really sucks. But anyway, we'll get back to your fire friend. Where are you at now in the life that you're living within the fire department? Where's your training at now? I know you said something about you just applied to the career fire department.
Training wise, I think I've kind of done the big things. I'm just nominating for smaller courses to refine my skills and just get that much better. I was talking to a couple of career paid firefighters during the week, and unfortunately I can't apply at the moment due to my eyesight, but I've got a plan in motion to get that fixed and get all my boxes ticked so when I apply I get the job. That's my goal, is just to get the job. I'll do whatever I have to.
So that's what your main focus is now, is just getting onto a career fire department.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to you, man.
Oh, thank you.
I think that when you have a goal and you do what you need to do to accomplish that goal, just keep trying, keep pushing through, because sooner or later you're going to find the end and you'll get it. You know, if it doesn't work this time, reapply, do it again. Reapply and do it again. Because you're going to learn what to do and what not to do every time you do it.
Yeah, if you bug them enough, they're bound to give you a job.
Right. We were talking earlier, and you said you actually had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And she actually has been involved with you since you started firefighting.
I think we got together about 2 months after I joined. So she's pretty much been there the entire way through and supported me and helped me through most of the stuff.
So she hasn't really been, hey, Benji, don't do that anymore. It scares me, or been really pissed off at you having to get up and leave in the middle of a movie?
I mean, if she's pissed off, she doesn't tell me. So that's a plus, I guess. She, like, of most people, she's worried, but she knows I enjoy it. She knows that it makes me happy, so she supports me in that way and is always there if I need someone to chat to.
Is she somebody that you can talk to when you see some really messed up stuff?
I can. I just don't. I don't really talk about that sort of stuff outside of the department or like the station, because it's just, the more you think about it, the more it's just going to affect you. So it's the job, you get it done with, you go home and you just get up and do it again the next day. She's always there, and if we ever go to like a nasty accident or something, our department has mandatory like debriefings with the crew and like peer support workers and everything that you pretty much have to go to. And so there's always someone to talk to, and the department has a very good mental health program if you need help. So always supported.
Really? Has it always been that way, at least since you've been there?
Yeah. Like, they've got psychologists on call and everything.
They have psychologists on call.
Pretty much. And you get like free, say, you get to go to like a psych appointment for free, and yeah, they look after you because they know it's not an easy job.
That's amazing, because here in the States, I don't think I know of one. Okay, I know of one department that has a psychologist that the firefighters or the first responders can call if they see something. But for a whole state to have psychologists and stuff like that for them to call. I haven't heard that. That's amazing. I would.
Oh wow.
We have.
You're missing out.
Yeah. Well, we have what they call employee assistance programs, but if we have a major call or anything like that, there's no mandatory debriefing. It's not wrong. A lot of the time we'll do an on-scene debriefing or an on-scene after action, what we call it. And that's when basically we're just standing around waiting for the cops to finish doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
But
mandatory might have been of a strong word, but yeah, so you get back to the station, because normally your group officer, who's basically your battalion chief's there, if it's like a serious accident, they're normally there. So I'll book in a debrief for this day. If you guys can all come, that'd be great. And then we go and they've got like peer support workers and all that. So like, for example, New South Wales, when I got home, I got a call from that group asking if everything was all right and if I needed anything. So
that's awesome. I don't remember the last time I got a call after something pretty bad and just the simple, hey, you all right? You good? You kind of
it's nice reinforcement.
Yeah, well, we kind of have to take care of our own. When I say that, like the station or the crew that went, it's usually once we get back, and then a little bit later, once we kind of process, it's like, hey man, you all right? You good? All right. You want to talk about it? You don't want to talk about it? Want to talk about it later? But something said to let everybody know, hey, I'm here if you need to talk. I'm going to ask you if you're good now. I'm probably going to ask you again later. Just know we got your back. Don't worry about it. But other than that, having an outside of the crew come in and be like, hey, you good? That doesn't happen very often. I don't personally know anywhere where that does other than now South Australia. But I think that would be definitely something that can be beneficial for fire departments here in the States, where when there's a large incident or a mass casualty incident, to have peer supporters or psychologists or somebody call those that were directly involved with the incident and be like, hey, you good? Need to talk? All right. And that's it.
Yeah.
You know, that we don't get that here. I like that you brought up well, there's no judgment. I don't judge how things are run like that here in the States, because mental health here in the States is just,
I guess I get that.
It's very recently become an issue, or quote unquote popular to talk about, to finally put on the table. So I don't blame any department or city on how mental health is taken care of within the civil service, specifically fire and EMS. I don't put any blame on the cities or the states or whoever who takes care of that, because it's such a new concept to be focusing on that everybody's playing catch up. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So to hear that there's departments like that around the world that are taking care of the people, taking care of the people is good to hear. Here in the States, you kind of have to take your own steps. You know what I mean? Nobody's checking on you. Nobody's going to come in and say, hey man, how you doing? You know, unless you have a good friend, there ain't nobody coming to say, you doing all right? Everything good? Nobody's doing that here in the States, unless it's a brother firefighter. So it's good to hear that that's going on over there. So you don't really bring up a lot of bad shit with people outside the department. it sounds like.
It depends how much alcohol I've had. I don't really bring it up every day to day, but if I'm with a group of close friends and I've had a bit to drink, I'll occasionally say, "Oh, I've seen this, this has happened." Blah blah blah.
Do you find it hard to tell them without drinking?
I don't necessarily find it hard. It just doesn't really come up in normal conversation, so there's no point in bringing it up. So it's not like, "Oh, what'd you buy at the shop today? Oh, I saw a dead body here." It just doesn't really happen. So.
Have you ever wanted to just kind of bring it up and talk about it?
Every time I have, it's been at the station where we've gone through the debriefing and we're able to vent how we feel and how it's affected us to the people we trust most, which is nice, but we've got that safety net there.
That's good to hear, man. It's definitely different how you guys run things over there. That's for damn sure. But it's good to hear that you guys have an outlet, because mental health is like I said, it's getting a lot more attention in our realm.
Which is really good.
It is absolutely really good. Especially for some people like us who have seen a lot of really fucked off shit. Like, there's no real playbook on how to deal with it. And the fact that we're actually taking the steps towards trying to realize how to deal with it,
and that's the important part. Yeah. If departments are taking active steps to better their support, I think there's nothing that can go wrong with that. Just give it time. It'll all work out. That's my saying.
You think so? Have you ever thought about actually being part of that change that makes it work out?
Yes and no. Like, I haven't really given thought to being part of that peer support group, but like if we go to an accident, I always just make sure if I can see someone struggling a little bit, it's like, if you ever need to talk, just let me know. So with our brigade specifically, our captain and lieutenants are very good with checking up on people after we've had a big accident. Just making sure that you're all good and nothing's bothering you.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, before we even get on the truck, we know if it's going to be nasty or not. So there's always the option just not to go. We don't force people to go if they don't feel comfortable.
Wow. So if they show up, you guys are not requiring any type of, hey, you have to go?
It's like if we need them to fill up to get enough crew to go, we'll just say, come on, we'll put you somewhere you don't have to see anything. Or we can put them on like the radio where they can just do call and don't have to really see anything. So there's ways around it. You don't have to be in the middle of it.
That's cool that you guys do that for your volunteers. Just a heads up, Benji. You're not going to have that option in Korea.
It kind of defeats the purpose of being Korea then. If you can't handle that, what's the point of going Korea?
Well, it's not about not being able to handle it, right? Because you never really know what you can handle until you're in that situation that's finally going to make you realize, holy shit. I don't know if this is a good thing right now.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if it's a good thing. I've been a little bit desensitized to it. So if I go to something and I see someone who's like, oh, it's part of the job, I said, I'll go. I'm happy to be here. This is what I've put my hand up to do. Just do it. Don't complain about it. Get it over and done with. Make sure everyone's all right.
Well, that's good,
that's
man.
That's my outlook on it.
Well, I hope you continue to have that outlook. And I hope that even after your big life changes, like getting married or having a kid, that you continue to keep with that. Yeah. Being a little bit older, having a little bit more life experience, I'm going to tell you, it's really hard to hold on to those ideas that you have of how life is. When you start realizing that there's other people in this world that are more important than you, it makes you change a little bit. So I'm not going to say it is going to change you. I'm hoping it doesn't.
Probably will.
Well, I'm hoping it doesn't, because having that kind of mindset definitely is a benefit within the fire service, because it allows you to not have that hesitation.
Emotional reaction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That hesitation to do the job because of the emotional reaction. You know what I mean? So I hope you continue to keep that mindset. I don't know if you'll be able to. I hope you do, because it is a benefit for sure. Like, I wish I can still look at certain things and situations and just be like, what the fuck ever, and just do my job and get the fuck out. But because
it's not necessarily that. It's not necessarily that. It's more the fact that I've put my hand up. I need to go and do this job and make sure this person either survives, or I make it as less traumatic for the other people around, and just get it done, make sure everything's fine, and then head off. It's not like, oh, this person's dead.
No, I of course I said it like
whatever. It's more like, just make it the easiest you can.
Well, and I understand that. I know I said it in a very asshole-ish sounding type way, but the point was.
Non-Americans.
Oh, now we're getting there. No, the point was, I'm gonna get you back for that too. The point was, Benji, is that there's some people that can completely separate their emotion and how they feel from a certain call, whereas others will see something and relate it to their personal life, and it'll affect them a little bit more. That's what I was saying. I hope
that's just nature.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I hope you can continue having that. Oh, I'm just here. I'm going to show up. I'm going to do the job. I signed up for it. So none of this is really affecting me right now. I hope you can keep that mindset.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling it's going to change. I don't know for sure, but I can almost, I'll put money on it, that the first time you see your kid, the first time you see your wife walk down the aisle, the first time you buy that new house, all those little things, you're going to start looking at these things that you go to and help people with a little more emotion behind it, because now you can relate a little bit more. So
that's a good point.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a long time. Not nearly as long as I need to be, but I'm halfway into my career right now. I'm 11 years in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so by what, 25, 30 years? Yeah, okay, maybe not exactly half, but I'm pretty much almost halfway through my career before I retire. So
oh, wow.
That and I'm 35. Oof, 35. So I have a little bit of life experience as well. What do you think? Just a tad. Yeah, you young buck. Anyway, you're a young firefighter. You're 22 years old.
Yeah.
Where do you think the fire department is right now? And where would you like to see it head? In what direction? Do you think it's hiding? Do you think it's heading in the right direction now? Or would you personally kind of steer it in another?
With the department as a whole, I think we're moving in typically a good direction. We've just got a new chief officer who's in charge, so we're getting a lot more new equipment. There's a lot more services available. Things are moving in the right direction. I don't think there's really anything I would change, given the strengths of that the department's got. I think they're doing a pretty good job.
So where the department as now is doing pretty good, and you think where it's going is okay?
It can only get better with the more the new appliances we get, new equipment. I think the only downfall is some of the departments are really struggling to find volunteers, because most people have moved into the big cities now. So there's a couple of stations out there that only have 4 or 5 people.
So you would maybe try to get more volunteers.
Yeah, that's probably the only thing I can really say. Because without the manpower, trucks are useless.
Your state has 14,000 volunteers, Benji. Where the fuck are they?
It's a big state. My brigade alone has 50.
Oh, okay. So cutting it out of 14,000. Yeah, that's not a whole lot for your little area. Yeah, okay. I'll give
We're
you
talking
that.
some really remote areas. And it takes like 8 hours between towns. 10 hours
Holy
between towns.
crap.
Yeah, I'm talking like the middle of the desert type. Middle of Australia, there's brigades out there.
Have you thought about maybe going to be in a brigade? It's weird for me to say brigade, but a brigade out there. No, it's cool.
Station.
I'm all right with that. It's no big deal. Would you think about working out one of those, or are you kind of like, nah, I like the shore over here?
It's more the fact that there's just not really any job opportunities out there unless you work on a farm. I think that's why they're struggling for people, because there's just no work in those small towns.
Right. That makes more sense. What would you have done different going into the fire department?
There's probably two things. Fitness is probably a huge one, because volunteers, obviously the fitness bars are quite a bit lower than career. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the more fit you are, the easier the job is going to be. And probably just listening to absolutely everything everyone's saying to try and learn as much and get as much information as you can on how to do your job better. Probably the next one I probably could have done a bit more.
So fitness and listening, really?
Yeah, pretty much. Two big ones.
Yeah, those are pretty big. What advice would you give yourself? Because I guess that answer kind of is the advice. Hey, dude, get in shape better and listen to the elders. But if you can go back in time, would you tell yourself, hey, start straight off going for the career? Or would it be, hey, you're about to start something, you're going to like it a lot, so pay more attention? Like, what kind of advice would you give yourself?
I couldn't really tell myself to go straight career, because in South Australia, you need to be at least 21 to be a career firefighter. Oh, okay. So I probably would have just go into volunteer, put your name down for as many courses as you can, do as much training as you can, and learn as much as you can. It's probably the only advice I would have given myself, because I was a bit slack the first year and a half of just, I'm just doing this, I'm enjoying it, and then it kind of was like, I want to do a bit more, be a bit better, and that's now I'm doing all my training.
2 years in, you're now doing all your training, Benji?
I was before Corona shut down everything. So that threw a wrench in the whole works of training courses, and so now it's just starting to open up again.
Right. How have you guys managed that whole situation as first responders out there?
Not really much has changed. We've just limited the amount of people we take on the truck. So instead of taking 6, we only take 4. Mm-hmm. We wipe down the truck every time we use it, so like disinfectant. And if we're going to be in contact with a known coronavirus case, we have to don up SCBA and like wear full and decontaminate ourselves. We haven't had to do that yet, thankfully, but yeah, those were our procedures. So,
okay.
Just clean. Now stuff's on ease. We can fill up the truck with 6 people again. So,
well, that's good to hear. That's really good to hear. Our department just put in some general, BSI precautions, body substance isolation, PPE precautions. Mask, gloves, goggles, and if you come into an actual COVID patient, wear a gown, stuff like that, face shield. Nothing real crazy, but It is what it is. But don't get me started on what I think about the coronavirus, because
Well, if it makes you jealous, South Australia has 0 active cases.
it doesn't make me jealous at all, really.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Got no leverage over you.
No, it doesn't make me jealous at all. It doesn't. I mean, we had the swine flu. We've lived through a lot of nasty stuff. I think the human population will be just fine. The people that got sick and perished from it, I feel for their families. I feel for them. It sucks. It's not a good thing. I just don't want to live in fear. That's basically it. I don't want to live in fear. I don't want to live in fear that I can't shake.
I say that.
I can't shake somebody's hand because I'm too afraid. Or I can't go to somebody's house because I'm too afraid. I can't go hang out with my friends because I'm too afraid. No, I don't want to live in fear. And I don't want my kids living in fear. I don't want them to... That is
completely understandable.
Right. I don't want them to be scared to go to school and learn and meet people and socialize, because to be human is to interact with other humans. But again, don't get me started, because I can I can go on forever on that.
What makes us COVID?
Oh God. Yeah. No.
New podcast.
No. Hey, you go ahead and start it. You have me on. I'll be your first guest. We'll go for
first and only
6, 7, 8 hours. I don't care, but I will let you have it. Stop bringing it up, Benji. But okay.
Hey, Mark.
All right. Yeah, we went off on a bunny trail there. We've been basically just having a really good conversation, just learning each other, really. We haven't really been staying on any one topic. I'm okay.
Floating around?
Yeah, floating around, not on one topic. It's basically two friends getting to know each other, really. It's really what it is, two acquaintances getting to know each other. And
we'll be friends by the end of this.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is I think firefighters actually really have that ability to have a connection, because we're firefighters, whether you're volunteer or career. There's a certain bond there because of the mindset that we have. Not necessarily because of what we do, but because of the mindset of what we have in us to do what we do. We understand where it comes from.
Yeah.
So I think when you meet other firefighters, if you can stay on certain topics, you'll find that you have a lot in common with them.
Yeah, it's a very specialized occupation, I would say. So most of the people do have the same sort of ideas and just general, what's the word I'm looking for? Attributes.
Personality.
I think that's why we get. Yeah, exactly.
And like I said, that's why I think it's easy for us to just talk like we're just friends. Granted, we're like constantly like talking over each other, because you're all the way in South Australia and the signal has to cross across the world to make this shit work, right?
I think it's about a 2-3 second delay.
There might be. I'm pretty sure there is. But I like the fact that we can talk being completely different people in completely different cultures halfway around the world and still find some commonalities. Did you hear anything? Yes. Okay, there you go. I was like, did you hear anything?
The last thing I heard was commonality.
That was the last thing I said.
You paused and I just, your screen froze. It was just your eyes looking at me like intensely. It was very off-putting.
My wife says the same thing all the time. She goes, "Why are you staring at me?" I'm not. I'm looking at you. You're so pretty. And she goes, "You look like you're pissed." I'm not pissed.
Yeah, I've got the same issue. Don't worry.
Like, I think that it's really cool that because we're compatible in that way, that we can have these conversations. We're completely different. We are completely different. Our cultures completely fucking different. It's freaking morning time where you're at right now, and it's 9 o'clock where I'm at. So
it's 11:30 right now, a.m.
Yeah, it's 9 p.m. here. So I mean, it's just crazy how we can be completely across the world and still get along. And we have this innate thing in us to want to do the job. Like, I can tell you're probably not as loud of a person I am. You're probably a little bit more on the subdue side.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't make anybody less than for being different. It's just
different.
It's just different, yeah. If we weren't firefighters, would we have ever really met in the real world?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Unless I came to Texas and wandered into a fire station looking at your pretty trucks, I don't think so.
Say that again, looking at our what?
Your pretty trucks.
Oh,
your trucks are amazing compared to... from my perspective, they're like the best things ever.
Really? Well, thank you.
They're huge. They've got... Yeah, there's just something about the American fire trucks which is just so cool.
Well, I drive one.
Yeah, I
know. So you really like the
Can you go four-wheel driving in your truck, though?
No, because it's too big.
There we go.
But
our trucks.
But we have other trucks that have 500 gallons on them that can go off-roading. We have some.
We've got.
So 4 liters to a gallon.
Yeah, we've got off-road trucks that are about the same size.
About 1,500 liters.
I think it's 3,000 liters, which is ours are 3,000 liters.
3,000 liters. So you're
4-wheel drives.
So you have about 1,500 gallons somewhere around there.
Let me Google the conversion.
4 divided by 30. What's that?
About 800 gallons is 3,000 liters. Is about 800 gallons.
Okay, so you have 300 gallons more than what our Wild End truck can hold. Are we going to continue? Are you done comparing cock sizes there? Can we continue?
I was just saying how yours is so much cooler.
Yeah, but yours has 3,000 liters, and can it go 4-wheeling? Yeah. Do you want
anything can go 4-wheeling if you haven't.
We'll go ahead and whip it out.
Go 4-wheeling, you have enough.
We're recording, man. You might as well go ahead and whip it out right now. Go ahead, show us how big it is.
You're going to pay me for that. I ain't doing that for free. I'm not a volunteer.
Well, good. Good one. All right, man. Look, I'm going to start wrapping this up. I had really had a good time talking to you, even though we didn't really stay on any one topic. We kind of jumped around. I think it was cool just to get to know you as a person and just kind of just hear you talk, because I like learning from new people, and you being a young firefighter across the world, you definitely have a unique perspective, not only on the fire department, but on life in general. So the fact that I'm learning that, I really appreciate you being, open to sharing that part of yourself, because there's not a lot of people that are. So I want to thank you for that.
I want to thank you for the invite and coming on. This is the first podcast I've ever done.
Yeah, well, you can always come back on, because now that you know kind of how it goes, next time we can actually pick a subject and kind of just stick with it. But I really do think that having you on and just kind of listening to you and hearing how it works over there, but then seeing how much of the same we are is actually going to show people that we are different no matter where we are in the world.
Yeah.
Firefighters is what I'm talking about. No matter where we are in the world, we're so freaking different as human beings, but we have this.
We're also the same.
Exactly. We have this innate want
as well
and thing to do the job. We're the same. We're the same when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Where do you want to see yourself in 5 years from now, Benji? Other than, obviously, we've already made it that you want to be a career firefighter. But let's say you get that. What else do you want for yourself in 5 years?
I want to financially set myself up and like buy a house, possibly even a family.
You're going to buy yourself a family?
Yeah, this, eBay. Nah.
That delay made that, I don't know if you, so the delay just made it fucking perfect.
I said eBay about 5 seconds later, you laughed. I was like, oh God.
No, the delay made it, it made it great. Okay. Well, those are good goals to have, Benji. Seriously, man. And I tell you what, if you ever find yourself in a spot where you might need some advice or you might just want to talk to somebody about something, I might not be able to really help you on the fire side over there because I don't know how Australia fucking works when it comes to firefighting. However, I do know how the human emotion works when you go to that call, when you make that dead kid, when you make that burning building that you weren't able to save somebody. When you start dealing with those career firefighters and the assholes you will be dealing with, because there will be assholes, not all of them, there will be. If you ever find yourself you need somebody to talk to, somebody to get some advice from, please ask. I'm here.
And likewise goes to you as well. If you ever just need a vent, go at it.
Be careful. So. Be careful offering that. Because I'll utilize it, I promise you. You're going to get a drunk phone call from me one night. It'll be 2:30 in the morning your time. It's only going to be like 10 o'clock in the morning here. You're going to be like, what the hell? I'm going to say, you told me to.
Knowing my luck, I'll be out on a job. Like a car accident, my phone will be going off in my pocket and it'll just be you trying to FaceTime me.
Yeah. I'll be like, Benji! I need to talk.
That's what friends are for.
Absolutely, man. But I am serious. I love doing this podcast that I've been doing because I've been able to meet people like you from across the United States, from across the world. I've really been able to meet great, honest people and great, honest people that are involved in the fire service, which for me make it even better.
Yeah.
I love learning from them. The fact that the people that I have come on, like yourself, that are open to answering pretty much any question I throw in front of their face, they're showing me this trust that to a stranger, I'm a complete stranger to them, but they're showing me a trust that I'm not going to do anything to make them look bad or anything like that. Yeah. But they're just willing to share who they are so I can help get that message of firefighters, EMTs, first responders. We're all completely different, but we all do the same thing. That's basically my main message for doing this, right? And so when you come on being a South Australian firefighter, 22 years old, you're a young buck in the game. It's awesome that even though you're only 22 years old, I'm 13 years your senior, almost 14. Like, there's a difference of basically my job, how long I've been in my job. You know, when I started first responder, you were being conceived, you know what I mean? Like, it's wow. Or you were 8 years old,
10,
whatever.
I think.
Yeah, you're young. So, but the fact that we have something in common now, even with my life experiences, your life experiences, I just think is amazing. And the fact that you're willing to share that, I really, truly do want to say thank you. I'm going to ask you two things. And if you've listened to my past podcasts, you pretty much know what my last two questions are. First one is, do you have any questions for me?
Not really, actually. No, it's pretty much the thing that confuses me, or not really confuses me, but it's different, is in America you've got ambulances that work but are part of the fire department. Where here that doesn't exist. That's so crazy to us because we've just got that doesn't happen. We've got a separate emergency service for that.
Is that separate?
Just the differences.
I'll explain something to you. It's actually not all that different depending on what part of the state you're in. It's only recently that a lot of the fire services have been absorbing the emergency medical services into the fire department. The reason why they did that is because firefighters respond to what? Car wrecks. Who also responds? Emergency services. Okay. Firefighters respond to somebody having a heart attack. Who also shows up? Emergency services. Firefighters respond to
anything.
House fires. Yeah, we respond to everything. Who pretty much, when there's a possibility of somebody getting hurt or there is somebody hurt, shows up? Emergency services. Why not?
And that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So why not go ahead? Let's just absorb them. And then we, the fire department or the city or the state entity running that fire department, now has a revenue from the fire department instead of it just being a constant take and not really creating any revenue kind of thing.
We gather revenue even as a volunteer service. So like if there's a shopping center that consistently has fire alarms going off, after a couple of times we actually start charging them per truck each time we go there. So it can be like $1,000, $2,000 if you consistently have fire alarms going off. So it adds up over time.
Yeah, it does.
Again, I think that's just a bit of a small difference.
We do have fire marshals where if certain building codes are not being kept, or there's certain building violations, occupancy violations, not having sprinklers where you're supposed to, stuff like that. I mean, they can get cited, and technically that revenue would come to the fire department. However, when you have EMS, emergency medical services, within the fire department, everyone you transport, everyone you transport is a possible, revenue.
Yeah.
We don't like seeing it as revenue. Obviously, we like to see it as treating the patient first. But realistically, when you think of it as a business, yes.
Yeah.
It is a business when you think of it that way. Then having EMS services absorbed into the fire, it only made sense to make the EMS fire related as well.
I think we don't really need that because we're all so close together. So the ambulance stations are only 15, 20 minutes apart from each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, just size, I guess.
You don't want to become a paramedic, do you?
No. A lot of them
that's why they don't need it.
put the wet stuff in the hot stuff.
Red stuff, wet stuff on the red stuff. Find them hot, leave them wet. All those other. You've never heard that one?
I've heard that one. I think we're getting a bit off track again.
Yeah, just a little bit. Anyway, but yeah, no, there are certain cities and fire departments and counties that still the city will contract their emergency services to maybe a private ambulance company, or they'll contract with an adjoining city or county and be like, hey, you guys have some ambulances. We're going to pay you guys a little bit and you guys take care of our EMS calls. No big deal. So it's not as uncommon as you think it is here in the States. It's very much like yours, where it's just a fire service and then they'll contract out or it'll be a completely separate city service or state service. Yeah. So it just depends on where you're at.
Everything's so different on the other side of the world. Who would have thought?
Yeah, it's weird that, I mean, because you don't think that outside the world it can be any different, because where you are is the only place that matters, right? Where you are is the only place that matters. Exactly. So how different is it across the world? How much is it the same? Most of the time we don't even think about these things. We should, because we might be able to learn a thing or two from departments from across the world, departments from another state over. If we're more open to hearing from them, even though they might have a different system, still firefighters, we still have to put the wet stuff on the red stuff, like you said. But if we find different ways of doing that could be more efficient and safer for all of us, then why not start having these conversations from firefighters from Australia, from Taiwan, from Japan, from anywhere? Why not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm all for it too. Anyway, so that was a good not question, Benji. And of course, the last one I'm going to ask you is, what do you think it is that makes us fire? And you know what I mean when I say us. You've heard a couple of my podcasts. When I say us, I mean everybody that's involved. Your girlfriend, your parents, your fellow volunteer firefighters, the guys in the career department that haven't hired you yet, and then you. What makes you fire?
I think it's more of a united want to be able to help people and do something that's different and do something that makes you feel good once it's done, that you can help and that you can just put all your energy and focus everything you have into doing a good job and helping someone out. Bit convoluted, but yeah. Wanting to help and doing something that's challenging to you.
I wouldn't say it's convoluted. I would say it's a commonality. It's a commonality. It's not common.
So I guess that's what makes us fire.
Yeah. Well, yes and no. Because how many people inside your department think exactly like you do outside the job, Benji?
Oh, I don't even know.
Exactly.
I don't really talk to them. Yeah. I need to do that more. Talk to more people.
Absolutely. So if they're so different, raised different beliefs, where did that idea of just genuinely helping people come from?
I think it's a bit more prevalent in the volunteer service because you don't get compensated for your time, so you're out there doing something because you want to.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, that's why it's a commonality. It's just because you're putting your life on the line to get someone else. So unless you're like an adrenaline junkie, there's no real reason for you to do it other than you want to help that person out of that situation.
But if somebody was raised as, say, a Christian, I'm using religion as an example, and then someone was raised as an extremist Muslim, but they both became firefighters, and they both had to help just people. They didn't get to pick and choose who they helped or not. Where did that idea come from? Where did that want to help come from?
I don't know. You get to ride in big, cool trucks. Who knows?
Yeah, well, let's get away from the deep shit. Yeah, cool trucks. Man, Benji, I tell you what, it's been great having you.
Loud trucks.
Man. Yeah, we do have loud trucks. That is very true. Well, Benji, hey, man, thank you so much for coming on. Seriously, man. I mean, across the world, we obviously have two different ways of talking. We have huge two different ways of how our countries do the job. But I'm going to want you on later on so we can talk more on the specifics of the differences. Maybe get a little bit more involved on the differences of the people within the job. And we'll be more job specific next time. This time, I kind of just wanted to get to know you. I wanted people to just get to know an Australian firefighter, really. That's all it was, is just kind of get the idea. Obviously, we know that not all Australian firefighters are like you, but that doesn't matter. You know, we got to get to know somebody new, somebody that nobody may have actually reached out to or talked to otherwise. So I'm glad you did. I'm glad you wanted to share and just come on and talk to me and allow me to get to know you. So I really do appreciate that, man. Thank you.
It was a good chat. Thanks for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
Did you have fun? I didn't make you feel uncomfortable at all?
I had a lot of fun.
Good. Because next time we're going to have even more fun.
I might actually know something next time.
Ah, man, you know plenty. Brother. But seriously, again, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You better stay safe out there, man, because I'm going to want you back on this podcast. A couple of weeks, we'll set it up. I'm going to want you back on so we can get a little bit more into the specifics and kind of really share the actual differences within the job, like the trucks, the training, the tools, you know, the helmets, all that stuff. I'd love to talk about all that stuff. So a couple of weeks, we'll set that up. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. But like I said, I kind of just wanted this to be a get to know each other, making a new friend, letting the people who listen know that we just became friends. So don't get all soft on me now, Benji. All right, man. Thank you again. What makes us Fire Family? This was Benji, your South Australian firefighter. Benji, you want to say goodbye?
See everyone. Thanks for listening.
Awesome. All right. What makes us Fire Family? You guys stay safe out there. Have fun. Peace.
All right, family. That was Benji. I told you we were just going to shoot the shit a little bit. Didn't really stay on a whole lot of topics for very long, but I tell you what, it was fun. And it was like I said earlier, you can put a bunch of different people in a room, a bunch of different firefighters, and they're going to treat each other like family. They could have never met before, and they're just going to start talking like they've been friends for years. And I think that's what me and him did. Granted, I did have a whiskey or two, but that's okay. I want to thank Benji again for coming on the show, sharing a little bit of his story. I can't wait for him to be back on so we can concentrate a little bit more on the big differences between North American firefighting and Australian firefighting. And I'm sure we're going to find a lot of similarities as well, but we're going to try to focus on the differences. And so I can't wait to have him back on so we can do that. What Makes Us Fire Family? Please, please, please remember to go ahead and go follow us on all your social media, major social media sites with the tag @WhatMakesUsFire. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course, TikTok. You could also reach me at whatmakesusfire@yahoo.com if you want to go ahead and email me. And if you want to see the faces behind the voices, go follow our YouTube channel with What Makes Us Fire, one word, space, and then podcast. And you'll see our cool logo and design up there. That's the YouTube channel, and you can see the faces behind the voices, kind of watch us talk a little bit and see some of our reactions. I want to say thank you guys for being patient with me in learning the whole audio and the editing experience and all that other stuff. Y'all have been amazing. You guys have continued to share. We have reached 1,500 downloads and listens. That is amazing for somebody that hasn't even been doing this for 3 whole months yet. And it's because of you, the What Makes Us Fire family. And I cannot thank you enough. Y'all, stay tuned for the next episode. Much love to you. Stay safe. Have fun out there. And remember, let's show some peace, because we never really know what somebody might be going through. Love you guys.